students. Today we are going to discuss how we can implement a stack using lists in Python. So let's start. I'm going to open up this Python idle. It's opening up. Here we have. I am opening a new file here. Now this is our new file. Now let us talk about stack. So as we discussed earlier that stack is nothing but we can consider it as a vessel which is open at only one end. Whatever we drop into a stack is called a push operation, and whatever we take out from the stack is called a pop operation. But the only restriction while pushing or popping any element from the stack is that we can only push at the top, and similarly we can pop out the things from the top only. There are some basic operations associated with the stack, which are push, pop, and peek is another operation in which we simply have a look from the above, see whether a stack is having something or not. So now we will try to implement a stack in Python using list. So let us define a function with the name isEmpty that will receive the list which I am taking as stk. So stk here is a list which will be received by this function, and this function is going to check whether this stk contains something or not. So it will check whether stk is equals to empty brackets. So if this condition satisfies, it simply means that our stack is having no element. So in that case, this function is going to return a true. Otherwise, this is going to return a false. In this way, you can see this function is just to check whether our stack is having any element or not. So it will return either a true or false accordingly. Now let us move and implement another function, which is the operation push. So I am just defining another function with the name push here. So this push function actually is going to take the stack and the item which is to be pushed from here. Now as you can see that in Python, lists have a ready-made function with the name append, and this append function adds an element to the very end of the list. And we also know that in a stack we can push an element at the end only, which is our top end. So I am just going to use this function append for pushing an item into the list. So I am just using that append function. Append the item. So in this way this statement is going to put an element which is an item at the end of the list actually. Now whenever we push anything inside the stack, our top actually changes. So I am going to make change in the value of top, and top will be the length of our stack -1. As you can see that I have taken -1 here because our lists start the index from 0 to n-1. So if we are having n elements, then the topmost index of the element will be the length of the list -1. So in this way we have set the top here. That's all for this push function. Now we are going to define a function pop. So as you know that while popping out anything from the stack, it is necessary to check whether the stack is having something or not. If the stack is empty, we cannot pop anything out of it. So first of all, let us check by calling this function isEmpty, which we have created earlier, whether our stack is having something or not. So if this function returns us a true, it means it is having some elements. If this function returns true, it means this stack is having no element actually. So if isEmpty is going to give you a true, we are just going to return this string underflow. So underflow simply indicates that we are running out of elements in the stack. And if this function returns a false, it means that it is having some elements. Then what we need to do, we just need to pop out an element. So for that purpose, actually we have a ready-made function associated with lists, which is pop. So I am just going to use that pop function, pop, and this pop function actually takes out the last element from the list, which is our purpose. So after taking out the last element from the list, our top will also affect. And now I am going to set but before setting the top, let us just check after taking this element out of the stack, is our stack having any element or not? Because there may be a case when our stack is having only one element, and if we popped that out, then there remains nothing. Then in that case our top must be set to none. So I am just going to check after popping out, if the length of our stack is 0, then it simply means that after popping out one element, there is nothing left in the stack. It means simply there was only one element which we have popped out. So in that case our top will be set to none. Otherwise, in all other cases when we have more than one element, our top will be set to length of our stack -1. Fine. and after this we are just going to return the item which we have popped. So in this way, this was the definition for this function return pop. Now another method that we will require while implementing a stack using lists, this is a peek function. So I am declaring another function with the name peek. It will receive the stack. Peek simply is looking at the very topmost element inside the stack. So while peeking, again we will check if we have something in the array or in the list or not. So I am again calling this function empty by giving it our stack. And if this function returns us true, it means we have nothing. So I am just going to return the same string which we have already done in the flow. And in other cases I just need to return the value which is at the top. So I am just calculating the top first, which will be the length of stack minus 1. This will be our top position, and I am just going to return the value at this top position. So this function is not going to eliminate any value from the stack. Actually, it is just going to return you the value at the top of the stack. Fine. Whereas pop function, which we defined earlier, is going to reduce the length of the stack by 1, but in this case this function is not going to reduce the length, rather it is going to simply return you the topmost element from the stack. Now one more function that we will require is if we want to display the entire stack. I am going to implement another function display, which is going to display the contents of entire stack. So again I need to check whether our stack is having anything or not. So this function again I am using is empty, and if this function returns true, so we are just simply going to print the stack is empty. In other cases, I'm just calculating the top length of the stack minus 1, and we'll print the first element at the top. Print first element which is at top, and an arrow mark to indicate that this is the topmost element here in the list. So it will print the topmost element with an arrow mark indicating the top, and then the rest of the elements I'm going to display using a loop, for loop. So I am forming a for loop for a in range top minus 1 to minus 1, and decreasing it by 1. So this loop is going to give you all the elements from the top to bottom in the stack. I'm just going to print the element index A. So this is how we have defined all these functions. Now about the main. So at main I am taking a list with the name stack, which is empty at the very beginning, and I am taking another variable which will indicate the top position, and initially we have initialized it with a none value. Now I am going to form a loop. So while true, this loop is going to execute forever until we have any instruction inside the loop to come out of this loop. So you will see how we will come out of this loop. So I am going to give a menu for the user, from which the user will choose what action he wants to perform with our stack. I'm just going to print some of the menu options that our user is going to see, and these menu operations, stack operations, will be displayed. The first thing we are going to display at number 1 is a push operation if user wants to perform. The second operation we are going to give for the user is a pop operation. The third option we are going to give is a peek function. The fourth choice we are going to give is display the stack. The next option we are going to give is an exit if the user wants to exit our program. So we are going to give a choice for it. Now, first of all, what we are doing, we are getting the choice from the user in this variable ch. As you know, we can use input statement here to get the choice, and with the message enter your choice between 1 and 5. So this message will flash out, enter your choice, and whatever the user enters will be stored in the ch variable. Fine. Now, depending on the choice that we will receive from the user, we will take the appropriate action. So if the user opts for ch equals to 1, simply, so it means if the user wants to push anything from the into the stack, we are just going to ask the user to give us an item to be pushed, and we are again using this function enter item. So the item entered by the user will be stored in this variable item, and now we are going to call this function push by giving us our stack and the item that we have received from the user. Now the second choice I am using with else if elif. Our choice is 2. Means the user is opting for pop operation. So in that case, we are just going to call that pop function pop by giving it the stack, and whatever pop returns will be stored in this variable item. So if the value received from the pop function is item equals to underflow, it means if the pop function returns us this string underflow, then we are going to just display that our stack is having nothing, and we are just going to display this message underflow stack is empty. And if the function returns anything else except underflow, then we are going to display the popped item. Popped item is, and this will be the item that we have popped. So this was. Now the next choice, which is 3, user opts for 3, then simply the user wants to peek into the stack, so we are just going to get this peek from the stack. So whatever peek returns us will be stored in item, and again we are going to say if this item is underflow, then simply our stack is having nothing. I'm going to give this message underflow stack is empty. Otherwise we will print topmost item is whatever we have received in this variable item. So in this way we have managed choice number 3. Now about choice number 4. Else if choice is 4, then we just need to display the stack. So we are just calling this function stack, which we have written earlier, display the stack. And else if our choice is 5, it means we want to exit the program, then simply we will put a break here, which will bring us out of the while loop. And in all other cases, when the choices except 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5, we are going to give a message to the user that you have opted for wrong choice. So we are giving a message invalid choice. in this way we have implemented all the function and the main for implementing a stack using list. Now let us check how the output looks like for this function. I am just going to save this file first. File, save. Save it on desktop. I'm giving it a name, stack using list. Saved it. Going to run. As you can see here, I am getting the 5 choices which we have designed in our program. So I am opting for the very first. So let us check what our stack actually having right now at the very first step. I am opting for this 4th option, to display whatever is in the stack. So you can see a message here, stack empty, because our stack is not having anything at the very beginning. So I am just opting choice number 1 now for pushing some items. So I am just going to push this item 8. So now if you want to check the status what our stack is having, so I am again opting for option 4. You can see here that 8 is being displayed here. So 8 is on the top. This arrow marks indicate the top item. Now again I am opting for 1, means I'm going to push another element 9. Again opting for 1. Again pushing an element 4. Okay, again opting for 1 element 6 I am going to push. So now in this way you can see I have pushed this 4 elements here now, and at last I have pushed the 6. So now let us check what is the stack status hour. So I am going to display the stack. Now you can see here, this is our stack. From here to here you can see 6 is at top, 4, 9, 8. These are our 4 elements. Okay. So now we have seen how function 1 and 4 are working options. Now I am going to use this second option, which is pop. So you can see here that 6 was on our top here, and when I used second option, this 6 came out of the stack. And let us check what is the status now. I am using 4. So now 4 is on our top and 3 elements remains in the stack. Now I am using the next third option, peak. So peak is just giving us that the topmost item is 4. As you can see here, 4 is at top, and after that when I use 4, still you can see there are 3 elements. So this is the difference between pop and peak. Peak is not going to take out anything from the stack, it is just showing you what is at the top, whereas pop takes out one element from the stack. So now I am going to opt for 5th option, means I am just wishing to come out of this program. So now we have finished. I think the things will be clear to all of you. Thank you very much. Have a great day.